Welcome to our discussion here. We're going over Tutorial C, Excel, Decision Support Systems, kind of in an effort to not necessarily solve this case, because much of it is very tedious and you'll need to go into the textbook and work through each of the different cells, and trust it will take plenty of time and you'll become relatively expert before you know it. However, generally, we are developing these Excel spreadsheets. Incidentally, before you even start, go into our Moodle shell, and there's an Excel skeleton for the College Town thrift shop, our case that we're working on. So be sure to download that. It'll save you an extraordinary amount of time, and then it'll be your responsibility to go through, make sense of that, organize it, and set up the cells correctly. The skeleton, actually I've filled in the skeleton here, so I'll just kind of work through a couple of the oddities that you'll have to kind of work with and handle, and hopefully it'll move you forward. Some of these are really rather straightforward. For instance, some are values. Our loan amount is going to be $100,000. Our tax rate for your 2015 is 33%, 35% for 2016. For instance, our end of year cash flow, what I just clicked on, that 83,867. Again, all of these are in the text, but you simply get that from cell C36, and you would simply plug in equals C36, and that will allow you to take the data from cell 36. I'm sure this isn't new information for you, but just some of the basics. The other thing that's also neat about this particular decision support system is that we've got the option of, for instance, a boom period or a recessionary period, and depending on what we select, there will be a variation in the summary of results, our net income or after taxes, end of year cash flow, net income after taxes, the amount of cash on hand. Those will all vary based on whether it's a recession or low inflation or high inflation. And we've got low, I'll put high inflation, and you can see that vary yet again. Actually, I'll just go back to boom and low inflation, just because, and kind of move through it. There are a couple of other statements, oddities, that are kind of tedious that I did want to work through with you very quickly. One is the if-then statement in the function insert, and the other one is the payment in the function insert. And just to go over one, you'll see there are about 7 or 8 of these that you'll have to generally work through, but just to simplify things and make it a little bit easier, the first one that comes up is C18. So I go to cell C18 and click on it, and you'll see a relatively complex formula. And what I'll do is I will delete that. Just click out here, and actually I'll delete D18 as well, so that we can copy that and use it a little later. Okay, but to do that, all we do, click on the cell C18, and then go over to the function insert key. You'll see it, the F small x or sub x, and we just click on that once. And what we'll do is in the search function, click if, click OK, and you can see it comes up right there. I'm sorry, click go, and then go over and click OK. Just making sure everybody has that. Click OK on that. And we've got 3 components. The first one is the logical test. The second one, if that logical test is true, then a certain value. If it's false, then a certain value. So our logical test for this one, I happen to know, and again it's described in the text, is $C $8. So since we're using alphas, we need to use those dollar signs. You'll notice if we're not using alphas, we don't need to use those. And we're looking at cell C8. And you can see that right in our area here. We've got B for boom. We'll put in if there's a recession. So that's equal to, in parentheses, R for recession, again because it's an alpha. So we've completed that. Now if that recession is true, we need B18, our cell, to be multiplied by 1.30. Then if it's false, if it's a boom period, it's going to be B18 times 1.15. Now actually that creates some mental noise for me as we're looking at a recession. If it's true, it's 1.3, and if it's false, it's 1.15. I'll have to look at that. However, this is the way the text describes it. So at this moment, we'll just kind of use this. But keep that in the back of your mind as you're working through this particular problem. Once we've got the formulas effectively put in, we click OK, and you'll see that it changes that value. So we've got it right there. Also, we're able to take that, if we'd like, and copy it over to the cell beside it. Again, this will be discussed in the text, but I didn't want you to get sidetracked on that. So we've got those set up, and we can see that if, for instance, there's a recession, our values change. If there's a boom, our values change. And so again, we're able to see those different scenarios, those different decisions play out. The other one that's a little bit tedious, you'll be relatively familiar with it already, is the business payment amount. And Excel, through this decision support system, set this up for us rather quick and easy. And you can see the equation right there. But the way you would set that up is almost exactly the way that you would set up an if-then statement. And what we'll do is we'll go over to FX, click on it. Rather than the if, we're going to do PMT for the payment. Click Go, and it takes us right to it. Then we click OK. And we've got the three important criteria to plug in. You may have run into this in finance or accounting or one of your other courses, but you would just simply put in the rate, which is in cell B21, and then our number of periods that we're going to be working with is 10 periods, 10 years, and then the interest rate, the loan amount, which is $100,000, is located in cell C5. So we plug all of that information in. We simply click OK, and we have that number playing out, much like we have it playing out here for 2016. But again, these are just some of the different aspects of this assignment that you'll be working for this case. And the real key, of course, is to set up this full decision support system for the bookstore. But go through it piece by piece. You will find it to be relatively tedious. Start at the top, work through all the different cells, all the different formulas, and you should be in good shape. Should you run into any problems, as always, don't hesitate to give me a ring, shoot me an email, or present something in our threaded discussion. You guys have a great day or evening or whatever. And again, if you have any questions, give me a yell. Take care.